Welcome to the Spalding County Board of Commissioners Extraordinary Session. Today is May 20, 2024. The time is 6 p.m. I would request that you please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Rick Taylor, Associate Minister, to lead us in the invocation, and Commissioner Dutton to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Thank you for this opportunity. Let us pray. Jesus, we love you, and we thank you, Lord, for this opportunity, Lord God, to call upon you. And we ask you, Lord, not to accept our thanks, Lord, for the things you've done for us. And God, we ask you, Lord, tonight, Lord God, to bless our commissioners, give them wisdom. And Lord, we're reminded, Lord God, of what Solomon said as he was anointed king. He said he didn't even know how to go out nor to come in. And Lord, then you give him wisdom. And that's what we asked him for tonight, Lord, for you to grant wisdom to this board. And Lord God, grant wisdom, Lord, to our county manager. And Lord God, everyone involved with running the business of this county. We pray, Lord, your blessings upon them. Lord, in every decision they make, they'll be making it according to your will, operating, Lord, in your wisdom. And God will be careful to praise and thank you for it. For it's in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I love hearing those kids in the back.
That is so sweet.
Great job, you guys.
That is so sweet.
Item number 4, presentation of financial statement. Presentation of the financial statement for the month ending April 30, 2024. Mrs. Dye.
Here she comes.
Here comes Erica.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The following presentation will provide a brief overview of the county's overall financial activity for fiscal year 24 as of April the 30th. It will include revenue collections, expenditures, and encumbrances for the general fund and fire fund only. As of April the 30th, 10 months have passed in the present fiscal year, which accounts for 83.3% of the budget. General fund revenues are $67 million, which is 100% of the budget. General fund expenditures and encumbrances total $50.3 million, which accounts for 76% of the budget. Sorry, I forgot to move the slide.
Thank you.
Fire district revenues are currently at $9.9 million, which accounts for 77% of their budget. Fire district expenditures and encumbrances total $13.2, which is 104% of the budget. But let me remind you that $6.2 million includes encumbrances for the new fire trucks that have been ordered, which we have received 3 of the 5 already. As of April 30th, our revenues have increased by 6% compared to the previous month, while expenditures have risen slightly by 12%. The county has collected $49.3 million in taxes, which accounts for 73.6% of the total revenue received for April. These taxes include real property tax, current and previous year, interest and penalties on real and personal property, public utility tax, motor vehicle tax, ad valorem tax and title fees for personal property, local option sales tax, alcohol, business occupation tax, and hotel motel tax. Intergovernmental revenues total $10 million, comprising 15% of total reported revenue. These revenues are from local, state, and federal sources, including real estate transfer tax, Georgia Highway Safety Grant, VOCA, accountability court grants, DOT reimbursements, FEMA, Boost, CSBG reimbursements, United Way, Hospital Authority, and other grants. The county has collected $3.6 million, or 5.5%, in charges for services for April, including fees from the probate court, adult probation and supervisor fees, inmate housing, medical, clothing reimbursements for both the CI and the Sheriff's Department, recreation fees, and recording fees. Miscellaneous revenue collected for April is $1.6 million, or 2.5%, including income from resource officers, CI and Sheriff's Department inmate phone commissions and inmate store commissions. Also CI detail reimbursement and spay and neuter fees. Fines and forfeitures generated $1.5 million, or 2.3% of the total revenue. License and permits account for $546,000, and contributions and donations account for $165,000. Investment income accounts for $76,000. The summary of expenditures and encumbrances. Employee salaries, benefits, and FICA taxes account for 57.8%, or $29.1 million of total expenditures for April. Purchases and contractual services like radio and computer equipment and software, office equipment maintenance, travel, dues and subscriptions, education and training, election expenses, telephone, circuit court budget, postage, auto and truck maintenance account for 31%, or $15.6 million. Supplies, which include office and departmental supplies, utilities, uniforms, fuel, and small equipment, account for 9.1%, or $15.6 million of the total. Debt service, which includes our enterprise vehicle principal and interest, our airport authority bond principal and interest, and other capital lease principal and interest payments on equipment, accounts for 2%, or $984,000 of total expenditures. And lastly, to close, a snapshot of the Spalding County bank accounts. As you can see, it shows the total of the checking and investment accounts as of April 30th has a combined total of $80.8 million, representing a $21 million growth since the beginning of fiscal year. If you exclude the water funds, as you notice on the slide, general fund and cash account balances are at $69.3 million as of April 30th. Thank you, and I would be happy to answer any of your questions.
You gotta be kidding. I don't have a question.
That's more surprising to me.
For the people in the audience and everything, this used to be a different kind of presentation to us, and it, can you all hear me? Here, let me try this again. Can you all hear me now? Okay. We used to do this differently, and it would be, are there any questions? And we'd ask one or two questions on it, since Mrs. Dye has been coming to us and presenting all this information. We've been going, wow, this is how we used to get it paper-wise and not with her standing in front of us. So that's why the comment by Commissioner Flowers-Taylor. This is pretty detailed, and we appreciate that opportunity to truly see what it looks like.
Thank you,
Thank you, Erica.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Miss-
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the financial report as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands. 5-0, motion carries. Item number 5, presentations proclamation. Presentation by Dr. Keith Simmons, Griffin Spalding County School, end of year report. Dr. Simmons.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Amen.
Thank you for giving me some time to share with you an end-of-the-year report. I do understand that there are a lot of presentations on slate this evening, so I will do my very best to be brief and concise, but still afford you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. So as you know, well, you wouldn't know this, but in the district, what I want you to take away from this slide is that we have 5 focus areas: literacy, enrollment, attendance, discipline, and solving. It speaks to reading, writing, speaking, and solving. In the bottom right corner, those are what we call our steps to accountability: seeing it, owning it, solving it, and doing it. And that will be our intention through the rest of this presentation. I won't read this to you. What I will share with you is that we do have an instructional vision for student success. Simply stated, it's to ensure that all of our students have the ability to read, write, speak, and solve in every classroom, in every school, on every given school day. That's the overarching mission, and that's what drives us from one day to the next. So there's the roadmap. This is our strategic plan on a document. What you can see there are 12 blue boxes, 4 green boxes, 4 gray boxes. In the gray, these are what we call our strategic priorities. This drives the day-to-day work in the district. The blue boxes allow us to establish relative initiatives and ensure that the things that are happening from one day to the next are headed towards our abilities to ensure that students are able to graduate empowered for college and career readiness. And what I'll offer is that that college and career readiness also includes community readiness, making sure that they are the types of citizens that we are proud to have operating within the Griffin-Spalding County school system and community. Wrong way. So I'll start with just a few awards. You may or may not recall, but this is Mr. Bruce Ballard. Bruce and I had the opportunity to go to the governor's office to have this photo. This represents Bruce being one of 2 employees in the entire state that was recognized for his collaboration, not only within the school system, but also in the community. It was a proud day for Bruce and myself and the school district, and this is one of several awards that the district has been fortunate to be able to attain throughout the course of the school year. I won't go through all of those individually. Another one is at the school board level, but this particular award highlights Dr. Tiffany Taylor and our reading initiative. You may be familiar with the book vending machines that are placed in all of our schools and throughout the community. That was a first of its kind in the state. Pleased to say that there are more than 25 school districts who now have book vending machines in their school systems, and it's an honor to be able to say that that idea originated here in Griffin-Spalding. I'll talk to you a little bit about the nutrition program. You know that all of our students are able to be afforded meals at the school day, breakfast and lunch. What you may not know is that the school system participates in what we call community eligibility provision. What that implies is that we have a large number of our students who would be directly certified through SNAP and TANF, meaning that they are in need of assistance. Because that population exceeds 70%, we applied to the U.S. Department of Education to enable all of our students to receive breakfast and lunch meals at no cost to them. That doesn't mean that it's free. It simply means that it's no cost to our families, and we believe that that's a good thing. And what you'll see there is, as a result of this, we are above state average in not only our breakfast participation, but our lunch participation. And as one who enjoys a good meal, I'll tell you that kids can't learn when their stomachs are tumbling. So this is an opportunity to ensure that the conditions are conducive for our students to have nutritious meals both in the morning and in the afternoon. I think everyone in the area would be familiar with our Regional College and Career Academy. It continues to be a bright and shining star here in our community. I do want to highlight that we are only the 2nd campus in the entire nation to have an on-site airplane hangar, and we're proud of our partnership with Delta's Tech Ops Division. We're excited about the conversations relative to the airport and what that will mean. We are literally on the ground as we speak right now, ensuring that we will be able to provide a workforce not only for Delta Tech Ops, but also for the general airport as it comes under fruition. This happens to be Mr. Guy Woodruff. Guy is a Griffinite. His grandparents, lifelong residents, did a lot of research out at the Research Experiment Center, but Guy also teaches aviation mechanics for us, both at the GRCCA as well as Southern Crescent Technical College, and it just speaks to, one, the level of professionalism that we're able to cultivate here in the school system, but also the level of loyalty that is breeded right here in Spalding County. More highlights I'll share with you. Earlier this morning, we had 2 students who became the first interns to be employed as I'll say they started out as interns with Caterpillar. We began a partnership with Caterpillar this year. Earlier this morning, those two students, upon graduation, have now signed contracts with Caterpillar, so they will be full-time employees. It was a small venture this year, but we are actually on tap to have 8 more of those individuals who start out as interns with Caterpillar and will become full-time employees after the internship. Just another example of the partnerships that we are cultivating between our business and industry as well as the Regional College and Career Academy. This didn't come out as neatly as I would have hoped, but what I want you to take away from that, students in Griffin Spalding who participate in our CTAE program have a graduation rate of 99%. Said differently, 99 out of every 100 students who participate in our CTAE programs successfully earn their diploma. Our challenge is to get every child to participate in the CTAE program, whether they are interested in college or the military. We believe that there is a value add for participating in the program, and obviously, when there is a 99% graduation rate, it's a win-win locally as well as regionally and statewide. I want to share with you a little bit about the work that's happening in our schools relative to the school nurses. You don't often hear about this, but I wanted to give you a little bit of data. Nearly 54,000 school nurse visits took place this school year. I'll say that again. Nearly 54,000 school nurse visits took place in our schools this year. Additionally, more than 1,200 dental visits, 1,300 hearing and vision screenings, as well as being able to work on grants to receive Narcan and epilepsy pens to ensure that all of the needs of our students are able to be met, whether it be through partnerships or the knowledge and skills training of our nurses. And so, again, I just want to thank you for your support of having a nurse in every school. That is a luxury. It is not a happenstance in every school system throughout the state, but I think it speaks not only to your commitment to our young people, but also the community's commitment to our young people, because in the absence of a school nurse in every school, I'm not sure where those 53,000 visits would have taken place or where those students would have gone for those services. Communication, you may or may not be aware of this, but we are implementing LED marquee signs on every school campus, not as just a luxury, but an opportunity to increase communication outwardly relative to school-related activities. One of the things that I appreciate most about this opportunity is when we have inclement weather, and we are prone to inclement weather here in Spalding County, it affords us the opportunity to communicate outwardly about school-related messages. Oftentimes, we end up coming to the district office to field phone calls so that parents can understand whether or not the schools will be open, whether or not they'll be delayed or anything like that. This level of digital communication enables us to do that via the internet and allows us to keep our employees safe at home and still be able to communicate with our stakeholders in their respective school communities. I'll share with you the active school councils. Basically, that's the school's opportunity and effort to ensure that families and the communities remain represented and connected in the ongoings of the school. So I encourage you, if you want to have more insight into what's happening in your respective school, ask about joining the local school council. You become the ears, the mouthpiece, and the eyes for the school in that regard. There's a communications award. I'm proud of the communications effort on behalf of our department there with Mrs. Laura Bieber, who is a Griffin High School alum, as well as Mr. Adam Pugh, who is also a Griffin High alum. They won gold in 5 categories, the most that a school district of our size had won this school year. So just extremely ecstatic about their level of professionalism and their desire to ensure that you are well informed about what's happening. I'll share with you, you may or may not know this, but we are continuing to implement the Leader in Me character development program. The Leader in Me is premised around the Covey Foundation's 7 habits of highly effective people, We have this program that's currently being implemented in 4 of our schools. Next year, we will add 3 more of the schools. The intent is for this character development program to be implemented in all 18 of our schools, as well as the 3 programs, that being the Enrichment Center, GRCCA, as well as AZ Kelsey Academy. I want to talk a little bit about fine arts. I know how much this community adores the fine arts, and we mimic and share not only that love for the arts, but also that responsibility for exposing our students to the arts. And with that, we will have 29 fine arts diploma seal graduates this school year. That's the most we've had in recent history. I think that's a testimony to the coordinator of our fine arts, Ms. Jenny Wilson, as well as the high school principals and the high school teachers who are affording students the programs that, 1, they are interested in, but 2, that they want to continue to prosper in when they leave our school system. And so extremely excited about the fine arts. I look forward to growing our fine arts programs. As you can see, our students have experienced quite a level of success this year in the arts, and we look forward to continuing that type of legacy moving forward. Safety. It is what it is, and it's a necessity relative to this type of conversation. I just wanted you, commissioners, to know that we are doing all that we can to ensure that we have safe conditions, but we also have the protocols to remain safe should said conditions be compromised, whether it be through the latest technology of weapons detections, the type of weapons detection that you will find at Mercedes-Benz or Phillips Arena, whether it be having, the partnership with the Sheriff's Department. Kudos to our sheriff for ensuring that we have opportunities, particularly in our elementary schools, to have what we call road officers stop by, do drop-ins, develop relationships. Really, really excited about those relationships being developed and the outcomes of having first name basis with law enforcement, but also first name basis with our youngest learners and ensuring positive relationships in that regard. I will tell you that safety is an utmost priority. Oftentimes, organizations state it, but we invest in it. And through partnerships, whether it be with the Sheriff's Department, grants at the state or federal level, we will ensure that if there's something that we can procure or install or be trained on to ensure the safety of our students and our staff, we're going to bring those things to Spalding County. I'll talk to you a little bit about these 8th graders. You may be familiar with the REACH Scholarship. Oftentimes, REACH Scholarship recipients would become first-generation college attendees. I was one of those, changed the trajectory of not only my life, but my family's life. And so I am always grateful for this community and their partnership in funding these scholarships. The school system's first round of REACH scholars will graduate from University of Georgia institutions this year, and we will continue in this legacy. Those are some photos that we awarded those $10,000 scholarships earlier in the fall. Can't be more excited about those students as they prepare for high school in the fall. While we have tons of exceptional alumni, I do want to make mention of one of my favorites. I happened to be the high school principal when Lauren Ann was a student, but we actually have an alumni who is down on the Cape in Brevard County working with NASA, trying to ensure that the rockets that we send to the moon have a Griffin imprint on them. And it speaks to, 1, the quality of education, but also it speaks to the commitment of this community and the things that we're trying to do relative to industry. She is a graduate of Griffin High School. Her interest in aeronautics came by virtue of being in our robotics program, and she just blossomed from there. This, Lauren Ann, speaks to what happens when a community and a school system rallies around the hopes and dreams of students who don't really have them yet and enables them to become more than they ever thought they'd be. And I just wanted to share a quick story about Lauren Ann. But again, we have thousands of exceptional alumni, and I appreciate the support that you all provide to them. So this is, we're talking about PI, and directly what we're talking about is the communities coming together in support of either students or staff members. And there are some figures there. 164 of our students mentored through the Spalding County Collaborative Mentorship Program. 164 young people who have someone in their corner to help them make good decisions and to help them think through the challenges of being an adolescent. That's just one example of what PI does and what the community does in support of our young people. I'll wrap up by saying, when it comes to student achievement, we often don't celebrate the work that our students are doing while they're doing it. I will do better at that as the superintendent of schools here, but I want you to understand we will graduate nearly 600 students on Thursday and Friday of this week. It is my expectation that those nearly 600 students become a value add to our community, that they find their way into the armed forces, into one of our technical colleges, one of the university system colleges, or that they go off and just stay, actively engaged in being productive in our community. There are several opportunities that we're excited about. Of the nearly 600, 238 are HOPE eligible. That's the highest number we've had in the last 7 years. 146 of those have already decided that they're going to go off and serve either in the military or at a particular college. And so again, as we have come out of the pandemic, our young people are getting more or getting reacclimated at making decisions relative to their future and the future of our community. And so we're appreciative of that. Again, 13 AP scholars. Griffin High School was named an AP expansion school, basically meaning that it had a 25% growth in AP participation. I'll also share with you that we had several regional winners in literacy. That's a big thing in the community now, as well as a first place winner in our Young Authors competition. I'll share with you that recently some students and a teacher at Cowan Road Middle School published a young author's text. Those books are actually in travel and transit now and will arrive in Griffin in the next few days, and we're excited about that particular 7th grade classroom. But again, we're getting back to ensuring that students have access and opportunity to be their best selves. So I'll wrap up by saying this, Commissioners. This class represents nearly $6.3 million in scholarships. That's $6.3 million that the families here in Griffin Spalding will be able to save while these young people will go on and whether it be enter into the military, go on to college, or particular workforce collaboration. Again, this was just a very brief opportunity for me to give you some updates with regards to where we've come. It has been a year. What a ride it has been. We have seen our fair share of turbulence, but we've also seen, and we're so grateful for our fair share of triumph. I want to thank you on behalf of our Board of Education for the work that you do here in the community, but also for the support that you provide for our young people as well as our faculty and staff. At this time, I'll answer any questions that you may have about our presentation or something that may have been top of mind as it relates to how the students are being educated here in the community.
I've got a question, just curiosity, and I'm not saying because I've received an athletic scholarship, but of the 6.3, how much of that would you say is in athletics? Unfortunately, Commissioner Johnson, we have not been able to sustain the level of athletic competition. I would say probably, though, 3 to 5%. We still have a good number of our students who are earning those scholarships. But right now, because of the GRCCA, as well as students' interest in technology, Which is
science,
great.
math,
Yes.
those scholarship opportunities are becoming more readily
Absolutely.
available.
Just curious.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Dr. Simmons? Thank you for taking the time to come out and update us. We truly appreciate it, all the great things that you're doing, Doctor.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item number 2, presentation of Community Emergency Response Team graduates. Chief Pope, Chief Burke.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for letting us come out and share with you our latest CERT graduates. those that could be here with us this evening, if you'd like to come up with us. We're very proud of this group. This was our largest class to date since we started in 2012 after the tornadoes in 2011. This was our 20th class, and we have well over 400 folks in our community that have chosen to go through this preparedness efforts to better prepare themselves, maybe their neighbors, their family, neighborhood, just depending on how they want to address it. So they spent 6 weeks with us, and it went by really fast. They learned everything from disaster preparedness to fire safety to disaster medical operations, even to about terrorism. That's a way of life for us now. So just to help them be a little bit more prepared should the unfortunate happen. So just wanted to celebrate them and what they do and what they mean for our community, that we're one step ahead to being more prepared, and to make sure you know this whole program, our 20 classes have been totally free with grant opportunities that we've been able to provide. Training manuals, they get a cert kit upon graduation that has vests and some minor tools in there to help them get a start on being prepared. So just wanted to celebrate them, and we look forward to the fall that we hopefully get to bring you another class to share with you.
I'd just like to say that I learned quite a bit, and believe it or not, when you get a certain age, you forget stuff, but, I mean, the class was just really good, and I think we really learned a lot that we didn't know, and I think we'll be able to use some of this stuff. Hopefully it never happens. I pray that it never happens, that we have to use it, but if we do have to use it, we have it, so we thank you.
Thank you. Are we under the seal?
Actually, you can move over that way.
Everybody move this way.
I suppose. Okay. So you got to do.
Only if you force me.
Yes. That's great. All right, look at me. 1, 2, 3. Look at her.
Congratulations. Thank you. We appreciate it. This is important. Like you said,
You kind of blended in there with them.
I know you, Ryan. I haven't made it to through an entire course yet. I've gone with several of my Boy Scouts to multiple of these classes, and every one I learned something. They're really great. It's a really great program. I wish one day when I don't have a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old running around playing me at night, I'll make it to all 12. But until then, I'm catching what I can. So really great program.
thank you for that. Item number 3, presentation of the 21st Annual Bain Proctor Lifetime Volunteer Service Award. Mrs. Carmichael?
Joining me is Travis Bowie, our event specialist. And thank you for this opportunity to present once again the Bain Proctor Award for Volunteerism. This is an opportunity that we're given every year to honor those who are dedicated to serving our community with unselfish acts done with great love. Volunteerism in Spalding County is foundational to improving the quality of life for our residents. If volunteerism is a measure of our county's wealth, we are very rich. There are thousands of volunteers in this community who are regularly giving their time to improve the lives of those in need. The Bain Proctor Award for Volunteerism is named after Bain Proctor because of his tireless efforts to make life better for others. He led by example. He encouraged and organized others to use their talents and resources to make this community better and work to strengthen the quality of services we provide. Tonight, we'll be presenting the 21st Bain Proctor Award. In celebration of the 21st anniversary of this honor, we are hosting a celebratory event at Emerald Chandelier with all surviving Bain Proctor Award recipients tomorrow from 2 to 4, and we hope that you all will be able to join us. This year, Ms. Bowie received several nominations, and each was judged and scored separately by a community panel. And now we'll proceed with the presentation.
Good evening to the county manager, the commissioner board, and community members. This year, as Kelly stated, we received so many qualified applicants, and it's very tough on our judging panel committee. I will read a condensed version of the nomination that we received for the winner because it was 6 pages long, so I'm not going to keep y'all. But I have condensed it to try to highlight the most important parts of her nomination packet. The nominator was Christine Thomas, and these are her words. I would like to nominate Jennifer Deal. She embodies everything that is right and good with Spalding County, and she deserves to be recognized for her efforts. Jennifer Deal is a staple in this community. She is an example of giving until it hurts and then giving even more. She spends countless hours fundraising for the next day's or next year's needs to be met with no pomp nor circumstance availed. She feeds the hungry and clothes the needy while raising her own family. She extends her tender mercies to all those who have had the privilege of meeting and knowing her. Jennifer has come through the fire, burnished and glowing, knowing the path God has evoked upon her soul and empathizing with those who are on a path she once was on herself. Her past was rugged and hard, and with the last ounce of her will, with God's blessing, she pulled herself out of her environment to find her purpose. She is the classic story of those on the wrong path, righted by a moment, which shook her and uncovered a passion for helping and nurturing others. She has posted on her Manna from Heaven webpage her testimony. Here is a little of what she shared. My life didn't flash before me until I was 3 months pregnant and sitting before a judge looking at 15 years, and I had my first son on the way, the one I was never even supposed to carry. He was born to redirect my path, and I'll forever give God the glory. His dad was in jail, headed to prison for the same thing I was sitting before the judge for. We made a promise to each other to do better. Once God came through and gave me a second chance off a technicality, I felt it was so that my kids wouldn't be introduced to that life from us. It's so hard to change, but it's all in your mind and heart. My struggles made me into the woman that I am today. I give so much of me because I know I have so much to offer. As you can see, her life struggles have not only molded her empathy, it has enlarged it to the point of encompassing her every being. She started Manna from Above in 2009 as a youth empowerment outreach program because she believes every child deserves the chance of a future and tries to provide opportunities for them to thrive in their communities. This outreach empowers the youth in the community to value and explore the relationships and camaraderie and the bringing together of like circumstance youth. One such program is the Youth Extravaganza, which is a carnival-like atmosphere allowing the needy families and specifically the youth in the community to experience interactive and bonding type events such as sack races, games where they win prizes, other interactive activities, and free food for the needy youth and their families. This is Manna from Above's longest and most recognized program in the community, servicing thousands of youths and hundreds of families from the inception, and this is a yearly program that keeps growing with more community members becoming vendors and sponsoring, allowing this carnival atmosphere to be a solid foundation of Jennifer's vision for keeping her promise. One program which tugs on Jennifer's heart is the Hope Cancer Awareness Program, which she explains as giving families struggling with cancer hope, that they are not alone. This program started because a father contacted her, and he was diagnosed with cancer and needed help with providing for his children, and Jennifer provided help in the form of daily supplies and meals and even back-to-school supplies for his children. This is when she realized the need of those who are homeless, in poverty, or in need due to the daily battle for cancer and the daily struggle of providing for their families when they are battling cancer. With great sadness, the father lost his battle with cancer, but before he did, he built a wishing well. This was a container that was placed out in front of the manna from above door for the homeless or those in need to pick up a jacket, socks, blanket, or anything else others placed in that wishing well. The wishing well led to a food pantry, a program available throughout the year which allows people in need, regardless of their circumstance, to receive food. The food bank extended to a program for food insecure children in the Spalding community through the Backpack Buddy School program, which partners with local schools serving at least 100 students a week by delivering bags each Friday filled with non-perishable food to those children who would otherwise be left hungry, so they can take the bags of food home with them to nourish them as they are more prone to be without food on the weekends when school is not in session. Each backpack contains 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, 2 snacks, and drinks. This is also a throughout the year program which provides snacks to thousands of food insecure children in Spalding County. This proves leadership and mentoring as other students and faculty help to distribute these bags of nourishment to those students in need. Also, Manna from Above helps with items youth may need in their daily lives, such as hygiene products, toiletries, and other items to allow them to focus on their school and learning and not on the wants for food and other needs. Additionally, one of the most recognizable programs Jennifer created occurs during the Christmas season. It is named the Giving Tree, or like most people in Spalding County call it, the Angel Tree. It is adopting an angel program to buy Christmas gifts for a child in need. She describes it as making the year a little brighter for children in need by providing clothes and toys for children at Christmas. She cuts out little angel-shaped tags and puts the child's age and clothes and shoe size, as well as 3 wished-for items, 1 being the most wished for to 3 being the last. These trees are placed around the community and businesses, and members of the community can take a tag and buy for that specific child wished for items, and then place those gifts in drop-off boxes she has set out in different businesses throughout the community as pickup locations. She has fulfilled, on average, 600 wishes per year, which brings the total to over 4,800. The programs listed are just a small portion of what Jennifer is doing in Spalding County. View her social media page, our website, and there will always be a new program or a new initiative for more community outreach efforts. Her motivation for the volunteerism and outreach is her children. She is leaving a legacy for them and for those in the community who are helped by her, and for those affected because of her efforts, and for those who want to be a part of the change by donating and sponsoring those efforts. Jennifer, through her pain and promise, has become the best of all of us and the best mentor to those of us who have yet to understand our full potential in what giving and volunteerism enshrines. She is a breathing definition of a kept promise to herself and God, a walking example of how others can do the same, and a living testimony of what we should all strive to become. Please join me in congratulating this year's recipient of the Bain Proctor Lifetime Volunteer Service Award, Ms. Jennifer Deal. Thank you. Unfortunately, while we were expecting to present this to her in person tonight, we will present it to her at a later date. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Carmichael. Item number 4, Boost Dashboard by Ms. Carmichael.
I'd like to invite Robbie Milner and Ms. Kay up to the podium, and they will be presenting the dashboard.
All right. Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Okay. Just want to say, first of all, to the commissioners and to our county manager, just thank you for the opportunity to come and present tonight, to share some of the things that we do in the community and some of the facilities that we have here. And it's about our Boost program, and that's building opportunities for out of school time, which is a very needed program for the kids here in Spalding County, and just to be able to expand and to accelerate their learning. So tonight, we just want to start with a small video to introduce you to some of the things that we do. And myself and Kay will sort of tag team this tonight to give you an overview of a lot of the things, good things that are happening in Griffin, Spalding County.
All right, just to start off, we got a quick video that will give you a recap of summer 2023. Thank you. What is Boost Grant? It is a three-year opportunity funded by the American Rescue Plan to support learning acceleration, connectiveness, and well-being for Georgia students, utilizing the whole child approach, which is where we tap into more than academics. We look at their cognitive skills, their mental health, their physical health, as well as social and emotional development, and preparing them, think that by tapping into those items, it will make them better learners and help them excel academically. Rather than concentrating on a list of items that students have failed in, acceleration readiness prepares students for new learnings. Educating the whole child addresses non-academic factors that impact academic outcomes while expanding learning opportunities.
So to get to this place, we had to have a channel of revenue. And so the channel of revenue came from our Georgia Department of Education. That was the piece that was able to, where we felt like the students in our class and the students were out of class, they were missing the classroom time, so we needed that funding to get them back in a structured place. So in that place, we went through Georgia Department of Education, and then they provided the funds, and then we went here to the Georgia statewide after-school network, and in that particular thing, they distribute the money, the funds and everything. They were the distributor of the money, and then it came to the local level, which was through Georgia Parks and Recreation and through us. So we were able to take that funding to be able to use it to bring our kids and our students, that some of that you see here today, in a classroom in a structured environment so that they could learn and be involved in a structured environment. So that's sort of like the funding channel, and then we went into our strategies. And so one of the biggest things that we found to reduce the barriers when you talk about trying to get these kids into these facilities, we wanted to serve more kids, but sometimes money is an obstacle that sometimes we have to overcome, and so that's a barrier there. So what we were able to do is take some of the funding that you'll see through the process of the grant, the presentation. That money allowed us to reduce the cost, and that was a big barrier because some of our parents, some of our kids in our community don't really have the fund to be able to participate in this camp, so that we were able to use that money for that. And also, we were able to hire certified educators that they could come in and really teach and use their skill sets to help develop and mold our kids in the classroom. During the pandemic, when they were missing that time, we felt like that barrier was important to provide not only just educators, but also some counselors that could help impact the lives of these young people. So it was a great opportunity for us to serve more kids by the money that we had. And so when you look at the breakdown here, initially we started half of the year with the first initial money, which came in 2021 and 22, and we only received $9,000. Now you can look here that we received $249,804 through the 3-year period. So in 2022, if you could go back just a little bit, so in 22 you can see the different amounts that we were able to receive to help this expanding accelerated learning. So you see in all the years we were able to receive it. And the reason why year one we came in at the I guess I would say halfway through the grant, we were awarded the funds, and so we started in February, and so that money is a little less. But when we had a full year to run the grant, if you can see how we were able to invest, the county was reimbursed, but we were able to invest this money directly into our students. And this next slide will show that. So in the first year, there was $9,763, but we had 35 kids that enrolled, so the initial investment was $279 per child. And as you see the slide, in the summer, when we had a full summer, we were able to serve 109 students, about $49,000, a little over $49,000, but the initial investment was $450 per child. And when you're able to invest that type of money, you can see the changes, the difference in the attitude of kids, the excitement and enjoyment, because we're able to provide things that they may not necessarily get at home. We're able to provide computer equipment. We're able to provide the technology and the devices that they need to enhance their learning and to grow as a student. And so these are some opportunities that we had with the grant fund all the way up to the 3rd year. And if you would look there, and some of the numbers, let me just be a little clear on some of the numbers in the summer. Some of the barriers another barrier that was very impactful to the program is transportation, and we tried to work through that with the school system to provide transportation. So sometimes the numbers were a little less when you look at the after-school program in year 2. We only was able to serve 58 people because we were only to use one site opposed to 2 sites. Normally our after-school program is done at Fairmont Community Center as well as City Park. And so with that barrier there, we're looking at more innovative ways that we could probably reduce that barrier and provide some type of transportation. But when the numbers, and they just dwindled a little bit, decreased a little bit in the years just because we didn't have that transportation piece. It would start good, and then the parents just couldn't get their kids there because they were working a regular 9 to 5, and the program starts around 3:30 in the afternoon. So that's why you would see that, but we were still able to serve amount of kids at one facility, and so that was at Fairmont Community Center. That was our hub for serving these kids, because that's more of a walking distance, and they're right there in the community, and so we were able to target a lot of kids to come to the facility. So you can see there how the numbers were, and the numbers that you all allowed us by endorsing it, we were able to impact a lot of lives with the funding that we received from the grant, from the Boost grant.
All right, how did we serve these students? Through a great staff, starting with myself. I'm the program coordinator, Kay Mobley. We had 2 site directors. Ms. Torian Simons was over Fairmont, and Danielle Corbin was over City Park. We hired certified instructors who came in through the summer, where I would create a curriculum and the instructors would create lesson plans that would ensure that accelerated learning piece, so there was no learning gap during the summer, and we tried to build some retention from what may have been lost during the pandemic and COVID, trying to get them prepared in literacy and math and different STEM programs. We also had camp counselors and rec leaders who interacted daily with the students, as well as support staff and volunteers who came in and assisted with tutoring to ensure our students get on the right track as well. our demographics was 90% K through 5. We serviced the elementary schools of Ann Street, Atkinson, Cowan Road, Moore Elementary, and Orrs Elementary. Robbie made a really good point. We really struggled with aftercare, not being able to provide that transportation piece for the students, because what we had to ask parents to do was pick your kids up, from school and then bring them on site and then come back and pick them up at 6:30. Well, most parents say, it starts off good, but then that's another job, to pick them up, sit in the car rider line, bring them, and then take them back. So we were losing student retention that way. Whereas Fairmont, because there is a school in the community, they could walk to the facility. So we were able to maintain those numbers. We had 10% of 6th through 8th grade, which all came from Kennedy Road Elementary. We had 43% female and 57% male. 85% of our participants were Black, 7% multiracial, 5% Hispanic, and 3% white. We proudly served 244 unduplicated students over the last 3-year span. Our services provided include accelerated learning, recreation and team building, problem solving, social emotional development, offering certified educators, and creative arts. Our after-school program offered homework assistance as well as tutoring, healthy snacks, and no-cost enrollment. Our summer bridge camp offered career exploration, field trips, USDA summer food, breakfast, lunch, and 50% off of tuition through scholarship funding. 68% of children go without lunch meals during the out-of-school time, unless they're enrolled in an out-of-school program.
So this is big for our summer program. If we partner with a local business called Spalding Treasures. And if you could, I think that slide, can we go back one? Just, see. Go forward. Okay, yeah. So with that being said, with the Small Treasures, the county, I believe we saved over $75,000 just for us to be able to serve these kids these meals a day, which consisted of breakfast and lunch. We served over 14,000 meals through the time frame of 2022 and 23. If you look there on the graph, in 2020, at that particular time, that was during pandemic, and we didn't have a camp, but we were just able to serve kids. And then the next year was our first year just having a program where we just had people coming to the open sites. But the grant actually started in 2022, and those numbers increased there. For breakfast and lunch, as you can see, we had a tremendous increase from 2021 to 2022, and also we maintained in 2023, and we have the summer of 2024, so those numbers will be added to that. But we were able to just serve a lot of kids healthy meals through the summer program, through DECAL and our partners with Small Treasures. So that was a big help to our students.
We created goals and outcomes, SMART goals, which are specific, measurable goals that are realistic and can be obtained by our students. Our first goal was that 75% of our participants would demonstrate academic improvement. The second one is 75% of our participants will demonstrate improvement in social emotional development and teamwork skills. And the third goal was that 75% of participants will demonstrate improvement in their behavior. Proudly, we were able to exceed all of our goals. We had 77.2 participants that demonstrated academic improvement, 79% of participants demonstrated improvement in the social economic development and teamwork skills, and 82% of our participants demonstrated improvement in their behavior. We were able to take the students on several field trips as well as bring them in-house field trips. We took them to Southern Bell Farms in McDonough, the Wild Safari in South Georgia, Urban Air, the Georgia Tech, Robert C. Williams Museum of Papermaking, iFly, which was probably their favorite, In and Cream Lab, which was an in-house STEM program, and Box City, which was also in-house, bought by the city of Griffin, that taught them how to manage a city. Our goal is for our students to reach their highest potential. And all of these pictures you guys have seen are actual footage of our students over the years.
And just at the end, just trying to bring it all and conclude it, the building our opportunities for out-of-school time grant. And if you look at all those numbers are there, and the biggest thing that 244 unduplicated children. So we served over 244 kids during the process of the summer, and we were able to invest a little over $1,000 in each one of those students for doing the after-school and the summer program. And so that money that you all afforded us and signed off on, $249,000, it really was a tremendous boost, as they said, boost to enhance and to even to expand and to accelerate, give accelerated learning for our students in Spalding County. So we thank you again.
Thank you.
And I think we have one more video if we do. That's not, oh, we got students. If y'all don't mind, we got a few students that want to come up and share. They've been working hard, and that's one of our site directors, and that's Ms. Tori Simon.
Tori and Simon. And this is our current after-school program.
Right, and these are, yeah, it's one more video, yeah.
Robbie,
Hey, Robbie, did you want to bring them forward for a picture?
bring them all, we'll get a picture, come on.
Okay, they
This is a
want,
big deal.
I think that's a big deal to them too, they want a picture. Is that how we get it?
Everybody's gonna look at the man with the camera. You can't see him, he can't see you. So make sure you're in the place where you can see him to be able to get a picture. Oh, yeah.
Okay, everybody, smile, 1, 2, 3. Keep going. Okay, one more, guys. Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Do it again this year?
Renee, as you all take your seats, I do want to introduce, recognize the staff, which is Miss Winnie and Miss Tan, that they work very diligent with our kids doing the after school, as well as the summer program under the leadership of Miss Tori and Simon. So these are some of our hands-on people every day, the day-to-day operations.
Every year I look forward to summer camp. We go on calendar in many ways. We have learning time, homework time, and activity time. We do skill projects. We have a computer lab and a small library with many books to read, and I love reading. Each year, we have a Black History program and learning our history is fun. We also go on any field trip that we do not have any homework. The staff will give us work to complete with all the great things to do in the after-school program. The staff help us to be better kids in school, and meeting your friends is great.
All right.
What summer camp and after school means to me. My name is Connie Mosqueda. I am 10 years old and I go to Beaverbrook Elementary. And I've been going to summer camp and after school for 3 years. When I first moved here, I was a part of an after school program in summer camp for my mom. She put me in these to keep me occupied and to not bug her. After school and summer camp mean a lot to me because it helps me come out of my shell of shyness. It also means a lot to me because I get to meet new people, make new friends, and hang out with them, and that's important. Another reason why summer camp and after school mean a lot to me is because it gives me time to have fun and not worry about things. When I'm at summer camp or after school, I get creative when I do my artwork and create new things. I can also help the little kids with their homework after school. At summer camp, I can be adventurous, brave, and strong. I can go on field trips and learn new things. I can build my courage to do things I want and try new things and use my team skills. I can also show off my talents at the auditorium on the last day of summer camp. On the last day of after school, I get to have a party with my after school program to show all of the hard work I put into this year. I can also push myself to work harder and achieve my goals. Entering there can help me reach for my passion. There, I can try new challenges and games and play with the tablets and on the computer. So, after all of this is what summer camp and after school means to me.
My name is Patrick Garland and I'm 10 years old. What does after school mean to me? It means hours of fun and enjoyment. Every day we do something new, like painting, designing, and more. I love the things we do here. We plant plants, look at solar books, and make art. Every time I go there, it's something new to learn. If you need help with our homework, we'll encourage us to try new things. There's a put our talents and our creativity, such as art, future careers, sports, and games. We also have parties to celebrate holidays and visit our friends, every year with trick-or-treating and dance on Christmas. And they
They all having a cow.
Let's go. Again, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you to the children and to the parents that make this thing happen for us. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Is this for me? Is this for me? Oh, okay, I thought I was special or something. Okay.
Special for us.
I'm like, ooh, what'd I do?
Item number 5,
Thank you, good job.
National Police Week proclamation. If the wonderful sheriff could come forward.
Good evening, how are y'all?
Good, how are you?
It's a tough act to follow right there.
I know it.
What is it, W.C. Fields said, you never go on stage after animals or children. Very brave young people for being up here and doing that. I had the honor tonight of reading the proclamation in recognition of Police Week, which was May 12th through May 18th, 2024. And before I start reading this, I would like to publicly thank the Spalding County Board of Commissioners and Dr. Ledbetter for y'all's unwavering support of law enforcement and your unwavering support of the Spalding County Sheriff's Office. I wish a lot of people had the opportunity to go behind the scenes and see the ways that we communicate with each other. And I think that's one of the best things that we all have going for us. So thank you again. Whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas National Police Week has established by a joint resolution of the United States Congress in 1962, and whereas there are approximately 800,000 law enforcement officers serving communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Spalding County Sheriff's Office. And whereas every day law enforcement officers are the first to be on the scene to help those in need and are dedicated to serving the community. And whereas National Police Week pays special recognition to law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And whereas over 50,000 assaults against law enforcement officers are reported each year, resulting in approximately 14,000 injuries. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, over 22,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty, including members of the Spalding County Sheriff's Office. And whereas the names of these dedicated public services servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas in 2023, 138 officers were killed nationwide in the line of duty, and their names were added to the National Law Enforcement Memorial this spring, including our very own Sergeant Mark McIntyre. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty was honored during National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's Candlelight Vigil on May 13, 2024, and whereas on May 15, 2024, the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty was honored by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund and the Georgia Law Enforcement Memorial Association, and whereas the service and sacrifice of Spalding County law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the Spalding County Law Enforcement Memorial Ceremony later this year. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Spalding County Board of Commissioners designates May 12th through 18th, 2024 as Police Week in Spalding County and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in the communities across the nation. Signed, Clay Davis, Chairman, Spalding County Board of Commissioners, and Dr. Steve Ledbetter, County Clerk.
You're centered up.
Yes.
Hang on. All right. Like the boy, on three. 1, 2, 3. Her.
Item number 6, special presentation from Fire Chief Mike Burt. Chief Burt.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is a very difficult presentation because it's very bittersweet all in one time. I've struggled what to say about this night. I've even struggled on how to present it. So on February the 15th, 2024 was a very tragic day in Spalding County. We lost a citizen in a house fire. We also had 3 very young children impacted by this house fire. Several heroes rose to light that night, that day. So I want to recognize those who are within our department, but I'm also going to recognize the citizens who are not here tonight who also stepped up to save their neighbors. So without that, this whole ball couldn't have been started in a positive direction. We train for a lot of different things. We train for what's called all hazards. We train for split decisions, but nothing could prepare you for the events that unfolded that particular day. When we train that when calls come in, you get the information from dispatch, you form a mental picture, you come up with what you're going to do while you're en route. You arrive, you form a mental picture, and you move and set action forth. That did not happen because somebody knocked on the fire station door and said, hey, the house is on fire next door. So immediately people had to go into action and arrive on site that was unimaginable. But what really started the whole event off for success was a gentleman by the name of Captain Randy Ponder, who was the shift commander for that day, who through his strategic thinking and foresight and actually working under some really good leaders had learned from, made a decision. Engine 4 is going to be out of the station for an extended period of time. That's kind of a big gap. Let's move an engine up there to cover it. Otherwise, if he had not made that decision, when they knocked on that fire station door, there wouldn't have been anybody there. So first thing I want to do is give a letter of commendation to Captain Ponder. Letter of commendation demonstrating a high degree of professionalism and command presence for the day of February 15th, 2024, which led to successful outcome of the structure fire at 4141 Old Atlanta Highway. So if Captain Ponder would please come forward. When the units arrived, they found a heavily involved single-wide mobile home with a person trapped and 3 kids outside with CPR being performed by citizens. One of the gentlemen who was on Engine 4 that day was about a 5.5-year firefighter, and his partner, even though he'd been with the county many years, had been active in military, probably had less than a year of active service. Quickly, with a bad situation, made some really tough decisions. His partner struggled because he only had less than a year's experience, and this is a type of event that in my 36 years of experience, I don't know how I would have reacted. They quickly got together, they made a plan, but what really stood out is firefighter Joshua Goss, who made a lot of hard decisions that day, actually went above and beyond. So if firefighter Joshua come up here. Not only did he have to make command decisions as a firefighter with less than 6 years' experience, he did something that is really hard to ask of a firefighter. So I'm going to read it first and I'll describe it. Firefighter Joshua Goss will be issued a Valor Award, who on February 15th demonstrated the highest level of valor by placing his own life at risk to rescue a victim trapped within a structure fire. Firefighter Goss entered a burning structure alone to suppress the fire to conduct a search to locate the victim. His actions exemplified bravery and commitment to service of others. So with this, I have the distinct honor of pinning a Valor pin on his uniform. Additionally, when units start to arrive, Captain Ponder and Lieutenant Huggins, if you would please come up. They begin to immediately assist with care, CPR on the pediatric patients. And as a result, we have 3 children that are alive today due to their efforts. So I have the pleasure of pinning a life-saving award on their uniforms. You go. Also, while I have a lot of people in the room, I just want to acknowledge the rest of the Spalding County Fire Department for their commitment every single day. They come to work, they fight hard, they train hard, and they make us proud. So I would like to acknowledge them as well and thank them for coming out for their support today. Thank you very much for allowing us to make that presentation.
Picture? Picture?
Mike, can we get a picture?
I thank you, sir, for mentioning that name. We tried to acknowledge everybody that was there that night and say that this really wouldn't have happened if it had not been for the citizens that actually stepped up and made a huge difference, to include your son and also the neighbors that performed CPR. So we would very much like to acknowledge him as well. So thank you for that.
That's not the center. This right here is the center.
You have one, find where it is, turn it around.
All right. Yeah, go that way. There you go. All right, that's good. There you go, dude.
Just 1 second there. If parents are here, or somebody, husband, wife, step on forward to get a picture. Don't worry about that, that's what this is for, so don't hesitate. Come on up here, get your camera up here. I know that's going to be a little bit embarrassing. Just step on up here.
All right, on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, congratulations. Truly appreciate your valor.
You know, a lot of us hope that if we're ever put in that situation, we'd be heroes, and these guys right here, they don't have to wonder, because they're put in those situations and they step up and they're heroes every time.
They are heroes.
And they do it every day.
Every day.
I sleep better at night knowing y'all are here.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask you to back up to number 5, and if you would entertain a vote for the proclamation for National Police.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for giving us. Item 6, citizen comments. Speakers must sign up prior to the meeting and provide their names, addresses, and the topic they wish to discuss. Speakers must direct your comments to the board and not to individual members or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual members or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. The chairman has the right to limit your comments in the interest of disposing of the county's business in an efficient and respectful manner. Speakers will be allocated 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertaining to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the members during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speakers will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. Dr. Ledbetter, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. We have three individuals, 3 of our neighbors signed up this evening. Miss Margaret Varnum. If you would, please step forward, state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening. I'm Margaret Varnum, and I reside at 111 McKinley Drive here in Griffin. I am here today on behalf of the almost 300 members of Making Tracks Travel Club at the Senior Center. And first of all, I would like to say we thank you and are very appreciative of that luxurious motor coach that you got us just a little over a year ago. We have really enjoyed it and used it along the way, but we are now in a situation where we can't use it, and that is causing a lot of problems for us. We attended as a group one of the rec and park and rec advisory meetings recently, and there in talking to them, we talked with T.J. Amberger, and with his program that he has planned with his budget, he's trying to work out a way that he could hire someone who could be a permanent bus driver. That driver could also be doing other work when they're not driving the bus. This would be so appreciative to us because of the situation that it's in. Right now we have 2 part-time drivers, but they have certain days that they can drive, mostly on Mondays and Tuesdays. As we travel about, many of the venues are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Therefore, it's not doing us a lot of good to try and have them as our driver. And we try and make at least 2 trips a month. So that is pretty important to us. But right now we're having to cancel a lot of the trips we had planned. Those trips take sometimes months in planning because of the venues. We can't plan a trip and start paying payments to that venue that are often non-refundable if we don't know we're going to have a bus driver. So that has been our problem right now. As much as we would love for it, we would like for you to really consider what Mr. Amberger's budget plan is and try and find us a bus driver. And we would like to say as soon as possible because we are missing out on a lot of summer activities that we would like to go to and such as that. So, as I've said, without a driver, we can't do a lot. And the volunteers of the travel club put in a lot of hours and time trying to plan these trips on the phone and everywhere else, trying to get things done. And then when we find out we don't have a driver, we have to cancel. That's pretty disappointing to those 300 members who had wanted to go along the way. So with that, what we're asking you tonight is to please consider in this budget that you're proposing and working on now, to find some money to allocate for a bus driver that we could have somewhere in the near future. Because as it is right now,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to let her finish.
All right, I have a motion.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand.
thank you. My last point I wanted to say was that if we don't have a bus driver, those 300 or so members are planning, we won't have a travel club. And there has been a travel club at the senior center since 1996. So please consider it, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Mr. Chairman, next is Mr. Kenneth Spradlin. Evening, Mr. Kenneth. If you could come forward, state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kenneth Spradlin. I live at 20 Johnston Road, Griffin, Georgia, in Orchard Hill. Come to you tonight with a few questions that I'll give you guys time to ponder. It does not have to be answered tonight. I just would request that in the not so distant future, we can all sit down together as elected officials and make decisions on the future of each other. I have some questions. Number one, why is the fire protection for the city of Orchard Hill going to increase 32% over the next year? Number two, why is there an increase when the number of firefighters has decreased? We have stations that are not being fully staffed, and that is concerning not only because I'm looking at a 32% increase, but I'm also looking at the fact that there are fire stations that are not staffed in case of emergencies in their area. And last but not least, where is our active IGA? We are supposed to negotiate over IGA, not be directed what we pay. With that being said, that's another reason we all need to sit down together and come up with a solution to this issue before it becomes something different. I have 212 people in my community as a councilman at large. Brian Hayes, who is here, also has those same people as mayor. We rotate, so next year, when this starts to go into effect, guess who gets to be mayor? And as all of our numbers are publicly published, I'm sure my cell phone won't stop ringing until they get answers. I appreciate your time tonight. I look forward to speaking with each one of you, hopefully as a quorum, not as individuals. I don't think we get anything done that way. And I appreciate the public for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brian Hayes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Brian Hayes, 100 John Jones Road, Griffin, otherwise from the Hill, Orchard Hill, as we so like to call it these days. Kenneth has already spoken about the main issue while we're here. I have a couple smaller issues. I have a signed contract with Spalding County concerning trash pickup along our right-of-ways. It was signed, agreed upon, and they've picked up the trash 3 times over the course of a year and a half, which is upon our request. We, the first 2 times it was fine, it was charged to us what it was supposed to. The 3rd time, which was a couple months ago, it came back almost double. When I questioned Public Works about it, they stated that they added a couple more inmates to it and another officer. We asked if there's going to be an issue, if there's a problem, contact us. Let us know what's going on. Just don't surprise us at the end of the month with a bill that we're not expecting. That's problem number 1. Number 2 is a ditch issue that we've had for years on Swint Road at the end of Macon Road, the end of Swint Road and Macon Road. I've talked to Public Works, this is now my third year, speaking with them about getting this issue resolved, worked on whatever we need to do, and I'm talking on deaf ears. They've been out twice to flag it. Once, the blue flags were there for so long, they turned white. And so we had them pulled up. They come back out in the second week of, I spoke to Public Works the second week in April. I was told we'll go look at it. It was flagged. They were supposed to call me with a plan, and here we are, over a month later, still nothing. Can't get an answer. So we asked the commission to please have Public Works help us. And we're talking on deaf ears. So that's all I have. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for listening.
That's it.
Yes, sir. No one else has signed up this evening.
Item number 7, minutes. Consider approval of the minutes of the Spalding County Board of Commissioners work session and regular meeting on May 6, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Item number 8, new business. Consider approval of amending the original ARPA funds request to include the $2.9 million earmarked for water, wastewater projects and all accrued interest to the Spalding County Water Authority.
Why are we having to do this again? Did we already do this?
And then they want more money.
Now, this is, it
Is
has
this
to do
more
with
money?
the interest of it.
Interest.
Oh, okay, they get the interest,
General
yeah.
Manager Johnson, if you'd step forward, please.
But that interest is also earmarked with it, right? Like it has to, it has to follow where it went. Yeah, this is, yeah.
Follows the
I mean, we
money.
don't have a choice.
That's what this,
Yeah,
It's a difference of $196,357.
but that money was given to us by the feds for these projects. I mean,
For
period, right?
So basically, like, it's not coming out of our funds.
Correct.
Okay.
the issue has to do with just interest. We
Got
paid
it.
the 2.9.
Yes.
What's going on with the interest while they have the
Right.
money?
Right.
They're asking specifically to get that interest given to them along with the $2.9 million.
And we're asking how's it gonna be paid for, and he answered the question, so thank you.
Yeah,
Correct.
motion approved.
All right, I have a motion
Second.
to approve. Did you second?
I did.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Thank you, General Manager. Thank you, Chairman. Item number 2, IGA with the Water Authority. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at this? This is a conflict between separating the two. We had a workshop and discussed it at the workshop, if everybody remembers.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. You're off the clock, man. All right. Item number 3, SDS map update.
Get out of here, he's gonna bill you all the way home.
So everybody understands, this is a third item from the Water Authority. Originally, this did not have Spalding County sewer service areas on it, specifically annotated on it. This is an administrative change to put it into the SDS. We started floating this and they said, hey, you're not included in this. We need to administratively fix this. They have fixed it. Do I have a motion to approve? Ms. Flowers, did you say?
I'll make a motion to approve for the purpose of discussion.
All right, I have a
Second.
motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Flowers, you have,
Yes, what has happened in the past is that the county, when the county was doing the day-to-day operations of the water authority, that some decisions were made regarding developments that were coming. And, some decisions were made without the water authority I don't know without their knowledge, but the county did not have the purview to make decisions for an authority. And so, in doing that, also the authority cannot negotiate the service delivery strategy, which is, we can only do that. But we did not consult them on what their service area was. So this clears this up, gives the responsibility for determining the service area back to them and takes it away from us so we don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Is there anything in the agreement, not just between us and the Water Authority, but between the Water Authority, the Spalding County and the City of Griffin's water authorities, for if one is not providing water and the other one wants to in an area, that they can switch, coverage areas? Like, so if one is currently claiming it but is not delivering water and the other one wants to, the one that's not delivering water can stop the other one from delivering water?
At this point, correct. I can tell you I attended a conference where GMA and ACCG were both in attendance, and the specific question was raised talking about if a service area is owned by an entity, but they can't provide that service, at what point can customers within that service go get it from someone else? So at the current time, yes, that's correct. The service areas have been identified. But I have a feeling there's probably going to be some type of legislation that's put forth at the House at some time. I don't know.
So where we're sitting right now, if we talk about Jackson Road, the Water Authority is not able to provide services. But if the county right next to the property has it, they still need to ask the Water Authority before they can have permission to provide sewer or water, because it's not their service area.
Or if the county wanted to provide service for new development, but it's inside the area marked off for the city gets to say, no, you don't get to, and so this can't be built here.
Well, our experience over the past years has been that when the city could not provide service, they have turned over some areas to us, and we have attempted to provide them with sewer. But yeah, it's not impossible to happen, but it's not a usual thing.
And there's a time limit on some of that, on a sort of development issue. If you can't do it within 2 years and things like that pop into the middle of it.
So there is things in there for a 2-year, hey, if we, no?
No, what you're referring to is the Hillwood, correct?
Those are individual.
The individual. What I would request is if there is a certain area that you would like to, I guess, talk about, possibly serving, please let us know. And what we can do is possibly at the next time, if we end up swapping service areas, because you see the little area in blue right there below the pink? That's in the Dundee area. In the event that the Water Authority ever and the county do a joint application and get a CDBG grant, maybe there's an opportunity where if we give them some, we can take another area somewhere else. So as long as the communication lines are open, I think there's a way. Okay.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you.
Where's it?
Item number 4, first reading of the FY25 budget. Dr. Ledbetter, are you going to?
I will be more than happy to present the
We'll have a
budget again this evening.
presentation, then decide what we're going to do.
It's back.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present again this evening the budget for fiscal year '25. This is the second opportunity that I've had to present the budget, and just want to let you know that this is our first reading, which I find interesting, but it is what it is. One of the things I do want the board to consider this evening is that fiscal year '24 to '25 is a $2.9 million difference. But we do indicate that this is a balanced budget with the following considerations. The expenditures increased over last year's budget of $2.923 million. This increase is necessary to rectify the employee compression and pay increases as identified by Evergreen Consultants and the rising cost of operations. It also allows us to maintain the services offered by the county despite the inflation of other economic factors. And I do want to call your attention to some of those factors. Our workers' comp this year has increased 46.6%. The gasoline this year increased 26.4%. Our electricity increased 16.7%. Our vehicle insurance, 16%. General liability, 16%. Sewer increased 14.9%. Our group insurance, if you notice there, it's indicated only a 4.8% increase. That includes all of our benefits for our employees and those who were a part of the program as dependents. Overall, you're going to notice there at the bottom it shows 2.5, but the additional indications are very small in nature as you go through the $70 million budget. But one thing I do want you to notice here in the bottom is the aquatic center at $1.08 million. That is inside of our budget. We do have that listed as an expenditure this year. That's an increase over last year.
But that's also the gross cost of the aquatic center.
That
not
is
taking in any of the revenue that it's going to generate.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Yes, sir. Also, the former city of Sunnyside, we do have $100,000 listed here for the continuation of that facility for rental purposes and for making sure that we take care of the rights of way for cutting the grass and taking care of the very few dirt roads that are inside of that former city. The anticipated revenue, should the board consider maintaining the fiscal 24 millage rate of 15,588, would result in an estimation of $3.2 million for an increase. By maintaining the current millage rate, we anticipate an increase in revenue, but this offsets the expenditure side. So we do, according to the estimates, and it is solely an estimate at this point. We do not have the firm numbers from the tax assessor's office. We are indicating a balanced budget for fiscal year 25. We would ask the board to consider moving the 91 non-filled positions that we have held over the course of the last year, fiscal year 24. That's approximately $3.5 million. We would request that you move that into fiscal year 25 for the supplemental budget that we have listed that each of you have had the chance to look through. I know that many of the items listed here are supplementals, and we would ask the board to carefully consider each of those supplementals to ensure that we've got the right prioritization and the right projects moving forward for fiscal year 25. That would increase roughly 3.7, but the 3.5 million that we have overage from the 91 non-filled positions for this past year would satisfy that requirement. We would entertain the opportunity of the board not to go up on our millage rate this year. I think that's that would be very beneficial for all of us, but I would encourage you to consider the increases that we've had in our budget as a result of the inflation that we've experienced over the last year. And I call back to your attention the workers' comp, the gasoline, the electricity, the sewer. Those items have gone up just as they have in my personal house. I don't know about you, but I've seen an increase in the cost of my monthly outlay every single month, and the county is no different. But I would ask you to carefully consider our budget for this year. I feel like it is affording us the opportunity to provide for the services that our community needs at a rate that is very modest for what we're able to deliver. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Mr. Chairman, may I? So, kudos to putting together this budget for us, and I just want for the public to be able to acknowledge that when we presented the budget last year, it was like $121 million. A bunch of that wasn't our money, okay? Just so we didn't just cut it $60 million.
Correct.
That money was in the water authority or whatever. So this looks more like what we're operating from. I would like to say I'm very proud of this board for addressing pay compression. after you sit here and listen to the fact that we have firefighters and law enforcement officers who leave home every day and don't know that they're coming back. In real life, y'all can't pay me enough money to potentially get killed going to work. So I think we need to continue to show them and make sure that as our budgeting moves forward in the future, that we follow the game plan that has been set up for us so that everyone's wages
We don't have to catch up next
Right,
week.
right.
Stay with it, yeah.
To follow the course so we're not 3 years down the road. What I do have a concern with is the supplemental budget. And what I have a concern with about that is that if we foresee, there we go, if we see that there's $3,738,072 available, my comfort level would be that only $2 million of that is supplemental. Because while we're using this money because we didn't hire people, we need people. And if the opportunity comes to hire them, I don't want us going back and juggling where we're gonna get this money. Clearly, we are all operating functional, but we know the fire department needs people. We know the sheriff's department needs people. We need grass cutting crews. So and we may have to go back and look at the supplemental because if it's less, but I think we need that cushion because if people come to fill some of these positions, that's gonna be this money.
Can I offer one thing just to that point?
Mhm.
Those 91 positions have not been removed from your budget. So those 91 positions are sitting in that balanced budget.
Mm.
Nice. Way to go, Steve.
Now you're trying to mess up my whole thing I was doing right there.
I didn't mean to mess it up, but I do want to make sure that we understand that we are funding the allocated positions that were afforded us for delivering the services to our community.
So I just want to make sure that there is no chance that if any of these departments who need people that we have on record will have a problem being able to hire the people that they have allocated already in their
That is
department.
correct, yes, ma'am. In fact, I think Chief Byrd and Chief Polk have left. They have had enough applications come through for the fire department. It will take us to a 100% position for number of employees allocated, and this will be the first time that we've been able to hit that mark in a considerable number of years.
All right.
That's a good thing, that's a good thing. I was also going to ask, there is nothing in this budget for, or even in the supplement for the construction of a fire station, a new fire.
That is correct. If you look at the supplemental reports that you were given earlier, the fire station for Fire Station 8, along with the equipment and the personnel to staff that location, is not in this year's budget. It is being presented as an option for the board to consider in a potential SPLOST.
So when we say Fire Station 8, have we assigned it to a location?
Yes, ma'am, we have. After careful consideration, looking at all of the data that was presented from our CAD system, the best location that we have determined for that location is on Tiemann Road, just out the back gate from Sun City Peachtree. That is the best location for the time that it takes a unit either from the Woodruff Station or from Gary Reed to come into Sun City Peachtree. It would reduce the time considerably for that travel location. It is also one of the highest numbers, the eastern side of the county is one of the highest numbers for calls to respond to AKB or the eastern side of the community on the north side for what we've seen from the data that was presented through our CAD system. There was a lot of work that went through for understanding the data.
How far is the fire station that is on 155 from Sun City?
So the
I'm just asking you a hard question.
No.
but
The
you can just-
155 station,
Isn't
Not-
it near
Not one
High Falls
inside of
Road?
Spalding County. There's one on Jackson, there's one on South McDonough, there's a station at Woodruff on Old Atlanta, and then Gary Reed. Those are the four stations that would typically respond depending on the nature of the call inside of Sun City and their availability.
So I understand that the density is there at Sun City. And I just don't want us to have made this decision based on the fact that somebody gave us some land. I know that there are areas in northwestern Spalding County that are just far away.
Yes, ma'am.
And the same going south towards Orchard Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, I don't know that we have a plan going forward, but somewhere we definitely need to have a game plan for, either looking at, I see their budget is based on a 1.5 mil in the fire tax, which we haven't had an increase in the fire tax in
Years.
more than 15 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I guess you just kind of like took the wind out of what I was trying to say, because you say that money is in the budget. You might
Yes,
have
ma'am.
told me that before. Okay, let's talk a little bit about stormwater.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
I think all of us have a number of questions for Steve like this. What I'd like to do is get this into a workshop instead of this time, and go through these and say, here they are, because I think each of us got onesies and twosies for sure to be able to do that.
so I was under the impression that this was the first reading, that we
Right.
were supposed to vote on it.
It is.
See,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm getting ready to.
Okay,
Let's
so
table it.
I mean, if you want to do something else, that's fine,
Do
but
we have time to table and still meet all of our timetable metrics?
By ordinance, we are required to have a balanced budget before the end of June for the July
Yes.
first date.
So we can still do it both in June.
We could do it in June, yes, sir.
I just wanted to make sure that if we
No,
table,
no,
we're not.
we've got it. All right. Do I have a motion to table and go through it one last time in a workshop?
Motion to table.
All right. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
You want to
5-0,
say
thank you.
I want them to get this through now, not June.
All right. Item number 9, report of the county manager.
Mr. Chairman, we would ask for
Look good.
an executive session this evening for legal purposes,
Okay.
if that would be okay with the board.
Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Before
Do-
the report, sorry.
You want to do reports
You
first?
want to
so
do
we
reports
crack on?
first or afterwards?
Okay.
I'm not gonna, I don't
Let's
have
do
anything.
reports now.
Okay.
Anything from you,
No,
Commissioner Johnson?
no, I'm gonna wait.
All right, Commissioner Dutton?
I have a couple things. We had the new fire truck push in. I got to do the dedicatory prayer there. I'm excited about our new equipment. I'm sure it's going to keep our insurance ratings as where we want them to be and not cost us a bunch of extra money in homeowners insurance. That's was the big concern when you lose 4 fire trucks in a row. We're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place there with, hey, do you want to pay $3,000 in extra homeowners insurance, or do you want to pay, for new fire trucks? So, obviously it's a no-brainer when you look at it. Like I said earlier, man, our firefighters are just awesome. They're so humble about it too. I mean, if I ran into burning buildings for a living, I'd be like, guess what I do? And they're just like, oh, it's my job, it's what we do. And, they're getting accommodations for Valor, and they're like, well, it's no big deal. I saved somebody's life. So we got a real good team of heroes on our hands here. We've got 2 parades coming up. The Juneteenth parade. Do we know the date that they're doing that? It's on the Saturday before?
I thought it was on the 19th.
Is it gonna be
It's like
on
a
the day?
Tuesday.
I thought
Okay.
it was on the 19th as
Is it?
well, but
Okay.
I will double check and.
Me and Rita were both going, are we?
The organizer is not here. He was gonna be here tonight, but he had to bow out, so
Okay.
we'll ask him.
All right, I just,
Get the date to us.
those are
I
important. And the Independence Day parade, of course, both parades, if we can show off our new equipment, that'd be a good excuse to do that. And to support the parades. Again, I say the same thing every year for every parade. Go to the civic organizations that you're with, including those of you who live in golf cart communities. Golf carts are highly encouraged to come on into our parade, so bring them down and we'll get you in the parade too. So the more the merrier. Again, it's sort of that critical mass. If it's a big parade, then even more people want to get into the parade and it becomes that much cooler. The Independence Day parade in Peachtree City takes 3 hours to watch it come by. Everybody's in that parade. It's a huge deal. Hundreds of thousands of people will show up and line Peachtree Parkway. So, it's my goal to outshine them. I want our parade to be the big one. Democracy, constitutional republic, freedom, these are verbs. And tomorrow is when we actually, our chance to vote and put those words into the actions that they are. So if you haven't voted already, go and vote. We've got some great people on the ballot side. Some of them are up here and they can't talk about it, but I will. We've got a lot of really great situations on our ballots this year. So go and vote if you haven't voted already. If you know anybody, your neighbors, your friends, bring them with you and go and vote. It's important. And that's what I've got.
Okay. Commissioner Flowers Taylor?
I'd like to agree with Commissioner Dutton. If you don't vote, you don't count. When people come to me asking, why is the sheriff's department treating my son this way, or whatever it is you got, I'm like, did you vote for him? Well, I don't vote. Well, what do you expect? So if you don't vote, you don't count. First of all, I want to congratulate Jennifer Deal. The delivery for me was a little long, but all of these years, my church has gotten the angel tree thing, and I never knew how it got started. And I just think that is so awesome, that somebody just thought of out of their heart has spread and has lasted this long. We have such fun shopping for these kids. We don't know them, but we try to outdo. Well, let's just put an extra one of these in there. So kudos to her for that. Her life is the sermon that she is preaching. She doesn't have to say anything. You can look at her and look at what she's doing and know what kind of life she's showing people to have. So I just want to congratulate her. She's very quiet and unassuming about the whole thing, but she is a busy, busy lady and very self-sacrificing. I've been driving the county since I'm running for office. Anyway, what I've realized, and I would like to talk to our planning and development person about, is that when you are on a dirt road or kind of a country road and you have to pull into someone's driveway, the driveway stops at the end of where the big hole goes in the, what do you call that, the culvert or whatever?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, how are these people pulling into their driveway or even driving out without going in the hole? So just as a matter of making things work better, I would certainly like for us to look at that. I don't know what that entails in money, but in terms of safety, it's like getting your car caught on a railroad track. Not the part you're supposed to drive on, the part where the train's supposed to be. You can hardly get out. So that was one of the concerns that I have. Also, there is a new Dollar General Market that is going up at the corner of North Hill Street and Armstead.
Yeah.
Right next to it is a resident that has been there more than 50 years, and across the street, another resident, both, nice houses. And I'm trying to figure out how come they have a Dollar General right next door to them. And when I called to talk to Planning and Development, apparently North Hill Street, even though every piece of it has a house on it, is zoned commercial. So at any point, someone can come in and put a business between two people's houses. Everything about that is wrong, and we need to fix that. I know that when we did the comprehensive plan, we looked at the overall picture, and maybe we talked about the future land use map. But what I realize now is that in approving that, we never went back and looked at the zoning map. That definitely needs to be fixed. We're operating out of, I mean, that's just like riding down the other end of Hill Street. None of that is on commercial. So yeah, we need to fix that.
And we can unilaterally move to change.
I think,
somebody's
yeah,
zoning.
as a board, we can do that and request that, but yes, I would like to see that changed. I know we have some, at some of the intersections, we want commercial, but we
Sure.
don't want
Yeah, yeah.
someone to put commercial
yeah.
between two people's
Yep.
living space. Also, what I recognize is that it is very, very difficult to see people's addresses. The addresses are only on the side that the mailman or mail lady comes on. So if you're going in the opposite direction of the way that the mail is delivered, you don't have a clue. And I'm thinking, nighttime, ambulance coming out,
Right.
sheriff's department, how you gonna see where you're going? At one point, someone had come to the board, and maybe it was a business they had, but they were putting placards out that were reflective so that people could see what, emergency vehicles mostly, but I think I would like for us to at least try to address that because I think it's a safety issue. I would hate, even though you have GPS, if it's dark and you're out in the country, nobody has a lighting district, you have a really hard time for these houses that are off the road to know whether or not you're going to the right place. So I would also like for us to, at some point in a work session, discuss that. That's all I got.
Mr. Chairman, Upson County has actually required that for emergency services purposes for every resident. They have a reflective house number that shows on both sides.
It's needed. I would just hate to think that someone called with a heart attack or whatever, and we're riding around trying to figure out which driveway that's 500 feet from the road is the real house, and you get there and it's not. So, yeah. Okay, Ryan.
All right. One I want to echo, please vote. It's important to me. Should be important to every citizen in our country. I'd like for us to get consensus that we tell the county manager to go ahead and start the process on a grant writer, a planner, and an engineer.
Yes.
We'll talk about hiring later, but let's start the process now to be able to get those people in here. And it's a long-term project, I know, but let's get it started right now to be able to do that.
All right.
I want to thank the Council on Aging for their session that they did at the Senior Center, the Senior Issues session. I heard the people talk about the bus driver. Bus drivers in the budget, it's in the budget now.
Because we increased it, we increased the pay.
And we can talk about how much, what they want to do with that. And at
But it's a
our
part-time
next
position now, though, right?
session,
It's part-time positions in the budget now. The supplemental indicates that we're making that transition to a full-time position.
okay, and at the next BOC, we'll have the chairman of the tax assessor board come in and brief us on what's going on with the tax assessor issue. All right, at this time, I'd like to, do we need a motion to?
Go into
I'd like to
executive
have a
session.
motion to amend the agenda for consultation with the county attorney or other legal counsel to discuss pending or potential litigation, settlement, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought or to be brought by or against the county or any officer or employee or which the county or any other officer or employee may be directly involved as per OCGA 501421. Do I have a motion to,
So moved for the foregoing reasons.
and do I have a second? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Can I have a motion now to go into executive session?
A motion to go into executive session to discuss
What did I just say?
potential litigation, all of the other stuff that he said before, personnel, and,
Well, that's.
yeah, that,
As stated?
as stated,
All right,
yes.
have a motion, do I have a second?
No, that was
Have a
on the
second?
agenda.
You amended the agenda.
All right.
Who was second?
Who's the second?
James did.
That was
All
my
right.
second.
All those in favor, please signify by raising
That's
your
what I
hand.
thought you were opening.
5-0. We're now in executive session.
Mike's room.
Okay? Mike's wrong?
Yep.
All right, do I have a motion to
Mr.
come out
Chairman,
of closed session?
I would like to make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Do I have a further motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to send a factual letter detailing the concerns with the tax commissioner to the governor for that to be sent on behalf of the board by you.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Actually accurate.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, that this isn't a personal issue. This is not any sort of attack. This is in no way meant to besmirch anyone at all. Simply a factually accurate statement to the governor voicing some concerns.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. We're adjourned.
Jesus,
10 till 9.
she is not-